Hey buddy, welcome back to the channel and to all the warships. So today I thought I'd make a kind of a how-to play the Tier 10 Japanese gunboat, the Harugumo. Now of course you can choose to play the Harugumo whichever way you like. This is just my way of playing this ship. But it seems like I found quite a bit of success playing the ship the way I do. So first off, you should not really consider the Harugumo being a destroyer, because it's really not. It's more like a mini cruiser with no citadel. Because if you spec out this ship like a full gunboat build like I have, you can see on the minimap I have a range of 15.1 kilometers, which means that you have pretty much the same range and same DPM as a Tier 10 American light cruiser, the Wooster or Worcester, whatever you like to call it. And you should pretty much play the Harugumo like a Wooster, because you have very lofty shell arcs, and you have great fire chance, and you have the range. So, I mean, you can pretty much just park behind any islands in the game pretty much, and just loft shells over the islands and burn down any enemy battleship or cruiser, which will be quite a few, since you have that great range you have. And later on in the game you can pretty much just go around securing caps, popping smoke screens, and melt down other ships, also using your great torps, because this ship don't only have one of the greatest guns setups in the game. It also have some of the greatest torps in the game. It has pretty much the same torps as the Shimakaze, which is a launcher of 6 torpedoes that goes out to 12 kilometers, and you have a torp reload, which makes every other cooldown you're able to pump out 12 of these bad boys, and they hit hard. So not only do you have pretty much the best guns, you have the best torps. On top of that you have half decent AA and smokescreen as well, and speed boost. They just kept adding on this ship. I mean, it's almost ridiculous. So looking at the team lineup in this game, we have an enemy carrier, which is of course a problem playing a destroyer. There's always something you have to consider. But also we have a enemy destroyer division, a Daring and a Harugumo. That is also something you have to consider. It seems like they have actually divided up, which is kind of strange, I think. The Harugumo is at the A cap, and I think the Daring is in the C cap. So of course we have the enemy Wooster as well, which is a great radar ship, pretty much built to kill destroyers. Just north of the C cap. So of course me pushing into the C cap would pretty much just be suicide. It would be like pushing into a kill box. So instead I push this flank, try to launch some torps against these two enemy ships. And now I smoke up and try to harass this enemy Yoshino. So here I'm just trying to bait out him shooting at me, because I don't want him to go dark. And I actually managed to bait him to shoot, so now he will be spotted for at least 20 seconds more. So I just let my guns start to work on him pretty much. Now I'm not really sure why our Grossovoy in the A cap is playing it such aggressive, pushing straight into the A-cap like that with the enemy Harugumo just sitting there, because it doesn't really matter if the Grossovoy has a heal or not. Going up in a duel against the Harugumo, well, that heal won't help him that much. And there you have the results. The Harugumo took out our other destroyer, the Grossovoy, and that's just another tier 10 destroyer player that died within the first minutes of the game, and that is the biggest problem with the DD players, pretty much. They think they should just suicide in the first minutes, but instead you should try and survive, of course, as long as possible in the game, because no destroyer that has been killed in the first couple of minutes has ever had any effect on the outcome of the game. But instead, a destroyer that managed to keep himself alive during the majority of the game, or even sometimes like this match, the entirety of the game, will have a great effect on the outcome, as you will see on the post-battle screen results. So I managed to secure my first kill, killing off the enemy Yoshino, and I'm up to 52,000 damage done. The enemy daring gets spotted, so I'm trying to lob some shells over, and it was almost possible for me to do that, which also showcase the great arcs on these guns. So now the daring has pretty much lost his support. The Wooster is bailing up north. So now it's actually time for me to start showing some aggression and pushing in. Because now I have the advantage, and you should never pick an even fight. You should always try and pick a fair and unfair fight. So the enemy daring gets killed off by our Moskva, and now I can just push in and secure the C-cap, also trying to provide some spotting of the enemy Minotaur sitting in the B-cap. So it's still one Harugumo left on the enemy team. But this is my pretty much the bottom line of this video. You should really not try to play this ship as a destroyer in the first half of the game, pretty much. Because no one on your team will thank you because you pushed in and died like our Grossovoy did in the A-cap. I mean, he should have backed off instead. Maybe landed some torps on the enemy ships, just kiting them away from the A-cap. Instead, both the Grossovoy and the Salem died at the A-cap. And as you can see, the enemy team has an advantage on points and caps, and we have one ship advantage in kills. So I'm not really sure what this enemy Minotaur is doing, pushing out in the open like this. It's almost like he wants to commit suicide, which is also kind of an interesting move for a tier 10 player. So he gets blapped by our Kurfürst, and now I'm just breaking modules and setting him on fire. And I mean, playing like that won't help him survive, not even with that great Minotaur heal. So now we have enemy Henri and Harugumo pushing in. And the Harugumo is pretty low. And I'm not really sure why he's pushing in like he is. Straight up the middle. He managed to go unspotted, so we start focusing this Henri instead, which is also very badly positioned. I mean, I have played the Henri pretty much the last couple of months, and I can say that Henri is pretty much impossible to kill if you play it right. But you should never ever ever push into a potential crossfire situation like this Henri player did. Because then the Henri, which usually is pretty much impossible to kill, gets really vulnerable and really easy to kill actually. Henri should always work the flanks. I mean, if he had positioned himself up pretty much where the Wooster is spotted on the minimap, or down at their Montana, he could have pretty much just farmed our flanks and burned ships down. But instead he chooses to push straight up the middle and he gets blapped. So now you can see I have pretty good support with my Moskva, Hindenburg and Massachusetts. So of course now it's not a problem for me to push in towards this enemy Harugumo, and also securing the B cap. And it's not a problem for me to secure these two caps at this late moment in the game. It will still be possible for us to win. But pushing the caps so hard in the beginning and pretty much just suiciding, that's not good for anyone. Now the enemy Harugumo is also dead, and we unfortunately lost the Hindenburg as well. So now I can pretty much just try and support my team as much as possible. We are a bit spread out, as you can see on the minimap. We have a curve first heading into the C cap. We have a Montana way in the back. Actually 2 Montanas way in the back. It's almost me and the Moskva and Massachusetts that are the kind of a spearheading fighting force. So I'm just trying to get a bearing on where the south ships are. See if I can maybe launch some torps. Now this last couple of minutes will be pretty intense. As you can see, I'm at 63,000 damage done right now. And I will pretty much make my last stand here in the A cap. So I see the Hindenburg and Yamato and also the Republic. So I'm trying to launch some preemptive torps. I'm not really sure where the Wooster is positioned. He was spotted a while back up north. So I'm just hoping that I have time to cap out this A cap before he's in radar range. I eat a pretty decent hit from the enemy Yamato, and that is of course one of the very few drawbacks of the Harugumo. Harugumo, with its special plating, just like the tier 10 Russian destroyer the Khabarovsk, actually eats full pens from battleships. So it can actually hurt quite hard to eat a pen from battleships. But that, as I said, is one of the very few drawbacks of this ship. They have to have pretty much one balancing factor at least. So I'm looking at this Republic. Maybe he will try and turn right for me. So I launch some preemptive torps and trying to set some fires on him, forcing him to use his damage repair before they land. Now the enemy Montana is pretty low, so I'm trying to work him over as well. Because now it's just time to pretty much try and kill off as many ships as possible. I'm just breaking 100,000, and actually it jumps up to 160,000 since I landed 4 torps on the Republic, also killing off the enemy Montana in the process. So my smoke actually runs out, but I kill off the enemy Republic with a flood, and now unfortunately I'm caught in an impossible situation between a Yamato, the enemy carrier, the Wooster, and the Hindenburg, which is kind of a problem, unfortunately. But I just try to use the last couple of seconds I'm alive in this game to try and work down this enemy Yamato as much as possible. But they are shooting me left, right and center. So finally I go down, but I think I have pretty much secured the win for our team, so that didn't really matter this much this late in the game. Wouldn't we have this kind of advantage, I would probably not have played this aggressive, pushing in to secure the A-cap as well. But I felt like I might as well try to gain some extra credits and experience and some extra damage, of course, because I already knew that we pretty much had the win in the bag. I'm just wondering why this full health Montana is still pretty much in our spawn. That's not really a way to grind the US BB line. So, as you can see, the final tally for me in this game: 480 shots landed on target, 6 fires, 3 kills, 2 divided captures and 1 solo capture, 4 torp hits and 2 floods, earning me 193,000 damage done. So this game is pretty much over, so I'm just gonna skip to the post-battle screen results instead. So all in all, a pretty decent game. 434,000 credits in a tier 10 silver ship is always quite good. And of course some decent results as well. Looking at the team score, earning first position of course is always great. 2,394 base XP, even shooting down 3 planes. So, as I said, some half decent AA as well. And you can see I did pretty big damage on many of the ships. Also almost 700,000 potential damage, so I wasn't really hiding all game as well. And finally made out with some nice experience and credits. So I wanna thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Please leave a like and a comment below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye.